Greetings and welcome to the very first episode of Mind of Yeshai. I am Yeshai, and here's what's on my mind. The second coming of Christ, the return of the Messiah. A lot of us have questioned, what does that really mean and what does it look like? We need to go to the words of Jesus himself. We're going to read from Matthew chapter 24, and he really explains this over 2 chapters. But we're going to start in chapter 24. And I'm going to break down some things that hopefully will make some more sense to you. And some viewpoints that you probably never have heard before. Matthew chapter 24 verse 1. It says, Jesus left the temple and was going away, when his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple. But he answered them, You see all these, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. The disciples come to him, asking him when he's going to return. Verse 3, As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Jesus answered them, See that no one leads you astray, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. They will lead many astray, and you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are but the beginning of birth pains. Now certainly we can see all these things going on in our world. People say, oh, well, people have been preaching this for decades, hundreds of years, that it's the end of the world, but not until the time that we're living in right now. So much prophecy is being fulfilled. The problem is most pastors cannot properly interpret the times that we are in, and this should not be. Jesus himself said, I don't want you to be ignorant. I'm telling you beforehand. So let's keep going and see what he says. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. Man, do we see this today. I was part of a ministry for 8 years, and I've been in churches throughout my life. So many churches I've lost count. And let me tell you, you will not find God in the churches because demons run the churches. Most people are afraid to say this, but Jesus himself is saying it right here. Many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And this is happening in the church today. I'm not part of a church. I'm not judging anyone that's part of a church. Everyone is at their own place. But for me, I'm not part of a church. The church is everywhere. We are the church. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. I submit to you, these things have already taken place. Here's the part that I want to focus on, that I haven't heard anybody really talk about. I prayed about this, I was reading this, and I believe God gave me this revelation. You have to do a word study here to really find out what it is. Now, the Bible is written in Hebrew and Greek. Most of our Bible is the Old Testament. It's what the Jews study, and it's written in Hebrew. The New Testament is written in Greek. In order to understand the words that we're reading in English, you have to go back and look them up in what's called a concordance to see the true meaning of the word. So I'll just read the verse here and then break down the words for you. When you see the abomination of desolation, those are the keys that I looked up. I looked up abomination and I looked up desolation. Now, this is in the New Testament, so they're going to be in the Greek part of the concordance. Basically, abomination, it's something that God hates. God abhors it. The thing that God hates and causes desolation or destruction or lays waste, when you see the thing that God hates that lays waste, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, which is in the temple, and they are building the third temple right now. This has not happened in over 2,000 years. The temple is being rebuilt, most of it is done, and they're actually working on reinstating the priestly sacrifices right now. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, which is in the temple, and it says, let the reader understand, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Now I'm going to stop right here. This is the part that I've never heard anybody speak on. And I'm going to submit my opinion to you. And I've shared this with a few people and they tend to resonate with it. The abomination of desolation, in my opinion, is artificial intelligence. And this is what everybody's worried about. Look at Elon Musk and a lot of people in the tech industry and science industry. Everybody is saying and worried about AI will be the downfall of humanity. How many movies have they made over it? Look at all the Terminator movies. But it's much worse than that. I submit to you that the abomination of desolation that Jesus is talking about here are demon-filled, artificially intelligent robots. The scientists are opening up gates and portals all around our world into other dimensions. They're talking to entities in other dimensions and they're getting information back. It's beyond any sci-fi movie what we're living in. So I submit to you, when you see AI standing in the holy place in the temple, let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house, and let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. Alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, for then there will be a great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. If you read that in the King James, it says no flesh will be left alive. So when people say, oh, Jesus saves, brother. Well, he does. And if you happen to make the cut as one of his disciples when he returns, you will be ruling and reigning this planet, Earth, with him for 1,000 years. As a result, you inherit eternity. The second death passes you by. The second death is hell, the final judgment. I'll make another video on judgment in the future. But when people say Jesus saves, he literally will save the entire planet from extinction. Because if you read it in the King James, it says, unless those days were shortened for the elect's sake, and he were to return, no flesh, none, no flesh would be left alive. In other words, Jesus is going to come back and save us, the entire planet, from extinction because of the artificially intelligent robots that will exterminate life on the planet. That is what you've never heard. You will not hear it in your church, and the churches aren't even preaching the mark of the beast right now. This is the revelation I believe God gave me. Pray on it, think about it, do some research on it. I tend to believe this is the biggest sign of his coming. All the rest is there, and he says all of this so that we're not ignorant. We're supposed to be watching. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonder, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. I grew up with this. Look at televangelism. Not to throw any big names out there, but you know, some big people that have thrown jackets over people or waved their hands over a crowd and masses of people fall down. These are the false prophets performing signs, deceiving many. And he says, see, I have told you beforehand. If they say to you, look, he's in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Concerning the day nor hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. As were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. In those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 will be in the field, 1 will be taken and 1 left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, 1 will be taken and 1 left. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore, you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming in an hour you do not expect. Brothers and sisters, I say to you, prepare your hearts and your minds for the coming of the Messiah. Everyone's talking about the Great Awakening right now, and the world is waking up to everything that's happening. And the Bible has written all of this out. It's gone to great lengths to tell us what was happening and what we're currently living in. The big thing that people are feeling is the beast coming into the world and the mark of the beast being forced on people. That's another video. But the coming of the King, the return of the Messiah, the time is close at hand, and the Bible goes to great lengths to explain to us why. So remember, when you see the Abomination of Desolation, AI, standing in the holy place, which is in the temple, he's right around the corner, because the whole world will be wiped out unless he were to return. I hope this has blessed you. I hope you will pray on this, think about it, hear from God, find out if it's true, do your own research. There will be more videos coming in the future. Peace.